Welcome to Spill the Tea
with Laura and Dee. So we are going to talk about how we got started flipping houses. It's been a super fun experience, and we just kind of want to bring you guys along on our journey. We just got started about a year and a half ago.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So first off, how did we meet?
So, I actually went to open up a bank account at PNC. Somebody told me, oh, you need to go to this branch. Obviously, I had good credit, and they started talking me into a mortgage. And so I was like, well, I honestly, I don't even have a realtor, And so they were like, oh, call this person. And I called.
I remember that. Yes, that was so long ago. I'm super excited we met. So one of the biggest pieces of advice or best things for me was actually having a business partner, right? Mm-hmm. Having someone to bounce ideas off of, someone I trusted. We've done a lot of real estate transactions together. Kind of got started on smaller projects together. Maybe doing some renovations for our clients that were possibly selling homes and that kind of stuff. And I think we've worked together on 5 or 6 transactions now. Mm-hmm. Sorry our camera is shaking. That's my dog.
Mazzy.
Mazzy the realtor dog. Anyway, so to get started, I think it just kind of started with an idea. It was a lot of conversations. It was a lot of talking.
It was probably a lot of conversations.
and so what would you say the first thing we did was to physically get started?
So I feel like the first thing was and actually I didn't really think about this until I don't know, after the first, so we did one in Kennesaw and then the one in Decatur. And so I kind of wanted to take a moment and find out why those worked. And I feel like, so to your point, it was a lot of conversations that we had, but it was we actually took our time to not just, I can't tell you how many times I see people jump in and it's just oh, we're going to do real estate. We're going to do all of this. We're going to do trucks, all the whole nine. And then it's just oh, damn, I hate this person.
Oh, I don't hate my person.
Right. And it's we didn't just jump straight in. It was just it was after a while. We had been talking about it. And then after, I think, what was it? You probably said, when are we going to stop talking about this?
Right,
and I was
let's jump. So I'm definitely the jumper. He's the planner, which again brings me back to our team. And for me, there was a lot of steps to go through. So the biggest first step for me was, where does the money come from? Right? It was, how do you, I'm going to kill my dog. She's going to knock the ball over. It is, how do you pay for this, right? How do you get started? And so we talked to banks. We ended up doing a few hard money loans on the first projects that we did. That was a great place to get started. It required a lot smaller amount of cash for us. And then we were able to start kind of funding some of the projects a little bit on our own. We've looked at equity lines of credit. Some people do HELOCs on their homes. We didn't. We were able to go to the bank. Good credit gets you a good distance when it comes to financing in the financing world. And so we were able to do those loans just through the bank, some credit cards. Mm-hmm. And we kept our project small.
The way we've got it now has worked out pretty well. So you've got those couple of, we've got the Lowe's and Home Depot, mm-hmm. which covers predominantly most of the materials,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then, we had enough cash on hand to pay the contractors, mm-hmm. which is really where a lot of the cash comes from. And then just the holding costs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's a great piece of advice. If you are getting started and you're looking for money, Lowe's and Home Depot, there'll be a whole podcast on how horrible they are to work with. However, the program itself is great because you're able to go in, you can get in the bid room, you can potentially get a lot of your materials for less than you can if you were paying floor prices. Mm-hmm. And so that was kind of cool, excuse me, to find out about as far as getting started. Finding the property. that was a nightmare. That was hard the first time.
Yeah. It's hard to find because it's like sometimes I feel like for one of the houses that I have that we haven't done together, I got a little impatient and I started talking to wholesalers, and so I still ended up getting a decent deal. There was so much garbage that just came across, and I was like, wow, how did you feel telling me the prices on this?
You really sleep at night charging that.
So, but it's, I feel like, I kind of, so you're better at the kind of finding the leads, but I guess that's kind of comes with,
my territory.
Right.
Being a realtor, it definitely helps. So some of the options, some of the things that we looked at past clients or my clients. People call me all the time. Hey, listen, I'm ready to sell a house. That's how we bought Haynes.
Mm-hmm.
It was somebody who was looking to move. They acquired the property in an estate and just didn't want anything to do with it. Didn't want to live there. They were just ready to kind of get out of it.
Right.
And so we went ahead and took that property off their hands. Other places that we've looked and things that we are looking to do in the future is working with probate attorneys.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a great place to get started if you're looking for property. Probate attorneys are working with families who really just want to unload grandma and grandpa's house that hasn't been touched in a bunch of years. Divorce attorneys. I'm married to an attorney, so there's lots of attorney advice in my life. But divorce attorneys, that's another great place. There's a lot of times homes that need to be sold quickly. And a lot of times the court even dictates, like, listen, this home has to be sold. Right. This is the minimum price.
Right.
We're not looking for the max price. We're looking to just get the two parties separated. Door knocking. So I've done that.
I have not.
Are you interested in selling your house?
I have not done door knocking. I picked up the phone. I'm terrible at it, but I've definitely done it.
Cold calling. So cold calling is probably my number one strategy because you are able to acquire a list of people who are in default on their mortgage. You can acquire a list of people who are absentee owners, meaning they don't live in the home. Their primary residence is someplace outside of the home that you're possibly looking at. And so there's a lot of different avenues, but my biggest suggestion is be creative and talk to anyone who will listen. I talk to people all the time. Next thing I know, they're like, oh, my brother's sister's cousin's dog's uncle has a house they're selling and it needs a full renovation and they just want out. Right? They just want out. So there's lots of creative ways to finding the homes. I would say the more creative you get, probably the better deal you're going to get. And there's some different ways to kind of carry that holding cost as well to keep the price low. Sometimes sellers are willing to carry the offer price, to hold the home and hold the cost of the home while you do the renovation, and they'll actually take their payment at closing.
Right.
So that's something else that we've done with sellers to kind of get us started. That way we didn't have to pay as much cash up front, which was super cool.
Right. So, biggest misunderstanding about the industry. So, I think you've been in it for about
almost 8 years.
So I actually came in as a CPA. So I wasn't completely lost in the real estate world. I think there was some classes I had taken in college, but for lack of better words, I was lost in real estate. I would say probably my biggest misunderstanding was that you had to be a realtor to purchase a home.
You don't have to be a realtor to purchase a home.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No. Yeah. Like when I found out about wholesaling, I was like, I'm sorry, what? What did you just tell me? It was that was my biggest misconception. I was like, you have to be a real estate agent to sell a home or purchase a home.
No, you do not.
Yeah,
you do not. As far as misunderstandings for me, I think that by the time I got into flipping houses, I kind of had a pretty decent idea of what that market was like. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't say there was any misunderstandings in the real estate world. However, misunderstandings with contractors.
Oh, that was a huge one.
That was a whole new ball game.
Yeah.
So one of my least and most favorite parts of the whole process of the first home we flipped from beginning to end, because like we said, we did some smaller projects for clients here and there, but that was hiring a painter or hiring a plumber or hiring a person with smaller projects. Interviewing contractors. Wow. We had prices that ranged for the same project, probably $50,000.
Oh yeah, it was nuts. Gosh.
We had contractors that assumed we were under contract with them.
Oh yeah.
Because we
that was sad.
because we thought we liked them and we told them we wanted to work with them. But we lucked out. I think we interviewed 8 total contractors.
I don't even remember at this point. It was
a lot. It was an awful lot. My biggest piece of advice is find someone who you would put in your own home and who understands the value of working with someone who's flipping homes. So we ended up hiring somebody who was kind of middle of the road on price. We didn't go with the most expensive. We didn't go with the cheapest. I wouldn't go with the cheapest. And we really lucked out. I'm going to let David kind of go over the process of what we do to vet our contractors. If you are going to hire someone, and this is kind of David's lane and why I'm the high D and he's the high S over here. But he went through a big, long process to make sure the person we hired was who he was and was going to do what said he was going to do. And that included even site visits before we got started.
Right. Yeah, so it's a bit of a doozy, but honestly, there's a huge difference in who you find when you do it versus when you don't do it. So I always start with, first off, what's the name of the business? And if not, who are you and what's your license? Like, where's your license? And then you find out what trades they're doing. So you want your GC, you want their license, you want the plumber's license, and then you want the electrician's license. If in doubt, just ask them, what license can you show me? How do I know you're going to come here and do the job right, basically. And so also I actually would go to sites. So contractors, if you ask them all the time to send you pictures, a lot of them will tell you, oh, why don't you just come up to a job site? I kid you not. There are people that will tell you a job site and it won't be their job site. Or, right, because if you think about it, there are so many people that just don't check. And so they probably get so used to, oh, he ain't gonna come. Right. So, there was a few contractors where it was just like, okay, well, I'll just leave it alone. But then the other ones, like, they would meet you at their site and they'd be very happy to show you their work. And that's how you can tell the good ones. Mm-hmm. Then also, so I actually took an additional step, and we'll actually get references and we'll actually call the references. So all of this stuff they give us, we just go and we actually verify it. There are places to go to verify those, each item. And then we actually make phone calls and we show up and meet them.
Yes. And that was actually a really fun part for me because we got to see so many different people's projects. Mm-hmm. We got to meet a lot of their subcontractors, which was kind of cool.
Right.
Like, so you had an idea of what their work ethic was like based on who they hired. Was the work area dirty when you got there? Were the contractors, hanging on the side of the house smoking cigarettes, taking breaks, or were they actually actively working? And when you get to know their contractors, when you come on site to your project, they're precious. Oh God, the owners are here. And they get so super excited.
They really do.
And they're like, they're thrilled to show you what they've done that week or that day or whatever. So I guess it wasn't a misunderstanding, but something I wasn't thinking about, and I was glad to have a business partner, was not only did he vet our contractors, he checked their insurance.
Oh, yeah. Always get the insurance. And call the insurance company. Please call the insurance company.
Don't miss that step. Like, legit, don't miss that step. And
also, keep in mind, there are insurance companies that will insure contractors that only speak Spanish. So when you call, just keep that in mind. I had no idea what to do. I think I ended up going to the office.
Oh, goodness.
So how did we find our first flips? Did we do that one?
We did that one.
Damn.
We did do that one. Anything else on getting started in flipping that we should talk about? You got to find your house, you got to find your contractor, you got to find your financials.
Oh, I guess selling. Like, what's it like selling? That's probably more of a question for you because you actually do the listing. But having, was it our first one was quick. Mm-hmm. First two, I think, were quick.
Mm-hmm. Those were the smaller projects, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, things to think about when you're making the offer and you're getting started initially. Do you see how our phone's moving that way? My dog keeps moving.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Camera in a second.
Right. We're about to lose Laura.
Peace. I'm out. But making sure that your numbers are right. Right? So, like, you don't want to offer too much, but you still want the property, so you don't want to offer too little. Mm-hmm. And then you have to kind of foreshadow how long is the project going to take? Longer than you think. Get ready. Mm-hmm. Totally longer than you think. And then where's the market going to be when you get ready to sell? So our first reno that we did from start to finish, that was interesting because we made our initial offer to the seller in the high of 2020 when everything was bananas. Mm-hmm. And we didn't list till... No, 2021. It was 2021 too. When the hell did we?
It was the earlier part of.
It was 2022. So it was
year,
it was the other part of 2022.
Which I think that's when we were getting that the hype in
Correct.
The market, and then the
Correct.
Holidays hit, and that's when we listed.
Correct, and so that was definitely, I would say, a little bit of a fail on my part as the agent. We did make some adjustments for the market to stop going up at the rate it was going up. Mm-hmm. And, we're listed right where I thought we were listed or going to go listed. And we're getting interest there, which is great. The house is currently listed. It looks fantastic. We're super excited about it.
It looks really good.
But what we missed out on. Yes.
Christian put a link. Check it out.
Yes, Christian put the link. 4212 Haynes Drive. It's amazing.
It's beautiful.
In Decatur,
Georgia.
But I would say that, had we purchased that home in a normal market, we probably would have come in a little under on our offer price to our seller. Not because we don't want the seller to have the money, but because it would have made a little bit more sense because we were expecting to list at $235 with a solid sales price of $250. And now we're looking to still list at the $235. We are at the $235. We were actually under contract and the buyer bailed. But we missed out on that feeding frenzy that was in the hype of 2021. And I think that would have, really set the final sales price of this over the top.
Right.
And we would have walked away with what we were really expecting to walk away with. And we're not sad. Like, we've done fine on the house and that kind of stuff. We're just not as high as we thought we were. So when you're making the offer on the house, make sure the projections you have are realistic projections and make sure they are conservative.
Right. Make sure you consider that market. Because I know for me, I think I always say officially started. And it's funny because I think December 2021, like December 16, I think that's when the formation of the business was. So COVID was like, 3 months later? So for me, I had kind of educated myself on everything that had worked pre-COVID. So when I jumped in COVID, I'm like, what is going on? Oh my gosh. Wow, I just screwed up my hair. But I feel like, so what's it? The house that I've been talking about that we didn't do together in Hateville.
Yeah.
So as much as I do like moan and groan about that one, I did kind of keep all of that in sight, but I only did because I'm a risk consultant. I do a lot of risk consulting. So yes. I this kind of stuff I just think of on the normal. People don't think of this stuff. Correct. So had I not thought of it, I'd have been like, well, foreclosure. I'm sorry. I screwed up. We're out. So, but I was able to kind of like move some things around. Now, it wasn't perfect. You can probably chuckle at that. But it's working. It's working. Like, we've got an actual like product that can go on the market at the end of the day. You know,
soon.
So, oh, absolutely,
Soon. We'll be talking about that one too. It'll be listed soon.
But yeah, I mean, absolutely. I would just say, ask yourself, you know, what could go wrong? Like, look at your plan, get excited about it, take that moment, and then step away or give it to somebody else and ask what can go wrong.
Yes.
Tornado.
Again, hi Dee, I jump. Hi S. He pays attention to the details, and so we work well together. Is there anything else people should know about our first flips and kind of getting started that you can think of?
So, I don't, not off the top of my head. I think that was a good one. We got quite some good content out.
I think so too. So I would say if you're interested in following us, obviously, hit follow, hit like. If you've got questions about renovating or getting started, we'd love to take you on the, you can call, or you can comment below, but we'd love to take you on the journey. We'll be posting more videos about what it was like to flip the first house. We'll be talking a little bit about working with Home Depot and Lowe's.
Mm-hmm.
They suck.
Right.
We'll be talking a little bit about what it was like to have our contractors on site, things we saw, things we wanted to change, things we wanted to do the same. We'll probably do one on problems we ran into.
We might be helpful to do one on assistance and social media.
Yeah.
For real estate investing.
Yeah.
You know, and hopefully at that point we'll be able to talk about the listing.
Yes. I would be very excited if we could chat about the listing.
That call.
Do not miss that call. But anyway, follow us. We'd love for your comments below. We'll be happy to answer anything you put in, any questions you put in the comments, and like and follow. We're excited.
Deuces.